13th Annual Taxi Road Rally. There's a story I told Michael Lasco, and he asked me to share it with you. Here's what happened. I was teaching at the Australian Songwriters Conference, and right after the conference, I visited this sanctuary for animals that had been wounded and could no longer live out in the wild. So when I went in, the first thing I saw was this beautiful white cockatoo with this just amazing golden crest on its head, and I looked at him, and I said to one of the rangers, I said, well, what's the matter with that bird? Why is he here in this sanctuary? And they sort of smiled, and they said, oh, that's Baxter. That's Baxter, and he thinks he can't fly. I was like, wow, that's really interesting. And they told me a story. They said that when he came there, he'd been raised for 7 years from the time he was a baby in this little tiny cage, and it was too small for him to spread his wings. So he really didn't know that he could fly. So he shows up at this sanctuary, and when they realize this bird doesn't know it can fly, they decide they're going to give it a little bit of help. So they pick it up, and they throw it up in the air, and it flutters its wings, and it lands on this branch, where it stays for the next 2 days, because it's scared to jump down, because it doesn't know it can fly. By the second day, it's crying and it's squawking because it's hungry. And they took pity on this bird. They got a ladder, climbed up the tree, got it, put it on their shoulder, and they climbed back down. And that's the story of Baxter. Well, I walked away, and I just could not get this out of my brain. It was like it wouldn't let go. I kept thinking to myself, wow, this bird believes it can't fly, and therefore it can't, because it won't even try. If what it knows is if it jumps off, it's just going to splat on the ground, it'd be a pretty dumb little bird to just jump off and have that happen. You know, so I found myself thinking, what is it that I could do that I don't know that I'm capable of? You know, what are the things I could do? And if I think I can't do things, I'm not even going to try them either. So why bother spending money and putting all my time and my heart into a demo when I know it's not good enough anyway? You know, what's the chance of it ever happening? What makes me so special? I want to take a second to acknowledge that it is not easy to dig down deep and do what you're all doing. I know that, and I applaud you for doing it. Because you know what? Sometimes you will fall, and it will hurt. But I just could not get this bird out of my brain. I kept thinking, you know, we've all been wounded in one way or another, and a lot of the ways we get wounded are the messages that we get from people who care about us, who say, oh, what's the chance? It'll never happen. Give it up. Because they don't want us to get hurt. And I was thinking about it, and I thought, you know, this weekend, you will have the most incredible opportunities to be heard, to learn, to network. And I thought, well, what can I add to that mix? So what I want to do is basically encourage you to ruffle some feathers and spread those wings and go for it. That's my job. So, on that happy note, what I'd like to do is introduce the man who had the idea and the perseverance to create a vehicle that has helped literally thousands upon thousands of songwriters, artists, and composers to find their own wings for the last 18 years. So please help me to welcome my friend, the founder and the CEO of Taxi, our taxi driver, Mr. Michael Lasco.